If you want to be written about favorably, you should co-opt the media. It's not necessarily news, but sometimes people act like that doesn't exist in wrestling, but it does in every other form of media. So I don't know why it should be any different, but it does rear its head from the reader pages from December 21st, 1992. Dave was written to by Matthew in New York, who says, with all the uproar over Eric Watts, I did some browsing through old newsletters, and in the 16 months he was wrestling under Jim Herd and Kip Fry, Dustin Rhodes did 5 jobs, 2 of which were clean. In the 6 months since Watts took over, I found 11 instances where Rhodes did jobs, at least 6 of which were clean. I won't swear by these numbers, but they should be close to the actual figures. This seems to suggest that Dustin's most favored status was done away with when Cowboy Bill came aboard WCW. This is in spite of the fact that Dustin has become one of the best workers in the company, although his interviews still suck. Maybe Bill still believes in rule by divine right. And Dave would counter this with a little quip. How many jobs did Brian Pillman and Arn Anderson do during the same 2-year period? I bring this up because it's no surprise, and it's not really a revelation, that Brian Pillman and Ric Flair were both in very regular communication with Dave Meltzer. So when there's a conversation and a question asked about Dustin Rhodes, the answer is about Dave's friends. Sure. We see this play out today. A couple of months back, we saw Bully Ray make some sort of comment about, hey, I don't care about 5 stars. I care about 5 zeros. I wanted 5 zeros on my paycheck. That was much more important to me than having a 5-star match. And Dave Meltzer went out of his way to respond to that. And he quoted it. And he says, did he also mention that ECW never drew more than 5,500 and it was never profitable, when in fact AEW this year is going to be the second most profitable company of all time? And it's like, wait. Bully was taking issue with your star rating system, Dave. AEW was not in the conversation. And even here, there's a conversation from a reader way back in 1992 about, hey, maybe this favored nations thing that you think, Dustin is working under isn't exactly true. He's lost twice as many as he was before. But instead of addressing that, Dave says, what about Brian Pillman and Arn Anderson? And it's like, wait a minute, that's not the conversation. The conversation was about Dustin. Political bias, media bias is a real thing. And I think sometimes we just decide that, well, it doesn't count in wrestling, or that's not fair because I study it. I'm not picking on Dave. I'm just saying.
No, you should pick on Dave. He's bad for the business.
There's bias here, right?
Dave Meltzer is horrible for the business. He's a parasite that contributes nothing and takes away from the business by discrediting it, and spreading his rumors and innuendo and his bizarre perspectives on things. But again, here's the reason. Media bias in general media, it is what it is. We're all getting overwhelmed with it now. And we can see it for what it is. And by the way, people often refer to it as fake news. I had a conversation with Tyrus. I saw him on Gutfeld the other night. This was a couple of weeks ago. And he used the term propaganda media. Everybody's been talking about fake media for so long. Fake news, right? Trump came out with that. Fake news. And it's become so common now, but it's also a little innocuous. It's almost childish because it doesn't really represent, and I'm going to get to Dave Meltzer in just a minute, but background. Fake news doesn't do what's going on in media justice. It's more evil than that. And until someone spends time in a country where the media is 100% controlled by the state, as in North Korea, you are clueless, absolutely newborn baby clueless as to how detrimental propaganda news, if you need to, fake news, is on a culture. Dave is the wrestling version of that. And until you've been in the business, in the industry at a high level, not as a wrestler necessarily, although you're going to experience it there too, but if you were ever at a high level in the business of the wrestling business, you would understand why people like me, who were at one point, those who still are, have such disdain for Dave Meltzer, because he's propaganda. He's not news. And this is a perfect example of that. Dave thinks that people talk to him are his friends. He's a useful idiot. He doesn't have any friends unless they're people like him. Pond scum generally aggregates in a small pond. It is what it is. I'm just giving you my opinion. He is pond scum. He's wrestling propaganda, and he's able to milk money out of people doing it. And I just encourage people to ignore someone like Dave Meltzer. There's some great people out there. Mike Johnson, Dave Scheer. I've mentioned them before. There's some great coverage going on out there, folks. Credible coverage, if you really want to know what's going on. But, Dave got there first. All of it is designed to make him feel important. And I think he's too stupid or just doesn't care. I don't think he even understands what a fool he makes of himself when he comes up with commentary like this. It is what it is. The people that he thinks are his friends are smart enough to use him because they know something that Dave doesn't know. They know that if they just give him a cookie and pat him on the head and acknowledge him, he'll do whatever they want. He'll write whatever they want.
Well,
he won't source it. He won't check it out. He won't challenge it. If you give him a cookie and pat him on the head and say, hey, Dave, here's a scoop, gone. It's out there. He's a useful idiot in the truest definition of the term.
A little stiff there. He's a nice guy, but he's not infallible.
He's a piece of shit.
All righty. Well, maybe you're ready to get off the hamster wheel. The Federal Reserve data is showing that the share of accounts making only minimum payments has now climbed above 11% as of the first quarter of this year.
Damn.
That's the highest level since they started recording and tracking this data back in 2012. But at the same time, a recent survey from Experian found that 2 in 5 Americans are carrying credit card debt and believe that making the minimum payment is enough to manage it. But like millions of Americans, are you too struggling with high interest rate credit card debt? You feel stuck just making those minimum monthly payments? Well, you've heard me say time and time again, your home is still worth more than likely what you paid for it. So instead of carrying all that high interest rate debt month to month, why not use the equity in your home instead? Just take a look at Andy, my buddy up in Appleton, Wisconsin. He had some medical issues that forced him and his family to take on a lot of credit card debt. But we hooked him up at SaveWithConrad.com. We helped him take advantage of the equity he had in his home. He paid off that debt, and he's going to save more than $1,000 a month. But how much can you save? Let my team run the numbers for you today for free, just like we did for Andy. There's no cost and no obligation, and if we can't help you save some cash, we won't waste your time. It costs nothing to look, as our pal JR says. And when you work with the team at SaveWithConrad.com, you can also expect our year 3 guarantee. Experts agree that interest rates are set to fall within the next few years, but we have an exclusive 3-year guarantee that allows you to refinance in the next 3 years at any time with no lender fees. So you lock in a better rate and reduce your monthly payments today, but you don't waste money with a whole nother set of closing costs later. The best time to start saving money is today. Well, actually, it was yesterday, but today is the next best opportunity. So why not access some of that newfound equity in your house? Turn your house into your dream home with no money out of pocket. If you've got some honey-do renovations you'd like to do, maybe you've always wanted to upgrade your kitchens or bathrooms, you've got the equity in your house to do that too. No matter what you're looking for, we can help at SaveWithConrad.com. Find out how easy it is to get started. And just so you know, you don't need perfect credit. So even if you've had some problems, we don't say no, we say not yet, but here's how. We want to get you on a path to making those financial goals a reality at SaveWithConrad.com. Why not let my family help your family save some cash at SaveWithConrad.com? NMLS number 2129, equal housing lender, SaveWithConrad.com.